Hello, everybody. Excited Utterance here. My name's Hella, and it's Zach Day. Hooray! Zachariah Anderson is not a murderer. We know that. Oh, look. Hello. Hey. I don't know. Oh, I don't know if I've introduced you guys to this one. Oh, she is a bit more lively. She's more lively than Sarah. Yeah. Yeah, because Seraph is 17, as you know, and this one is only like 1.5, 2 years old. This is Mimi. This is my daughter's little kitty cat. Whoa. All right, and she's a little bit dangerous. Whoa, hang on. She's biting me. Okay, let's bring Dali in. Let's bring Dali in before I get eaten. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Ichi, how are you?
Good. Oh dear. Yes. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I've got a different kitty cat today. Isn't she lovely, though? We call her like a loaf of bread because she's like white on the bottom and she's got like a toasty bit on the top. I don't know if I'm all right with this. I don't know if I could stream like this. I'm going to be attacked. Hello, Darlene Hamlin, sorry. Nice to meet you or see you again. And Christine is here. Hello, Christine. Good to see you. Okay, peoples. So it's another Zachariah Anderson stream. And today we're going to be, hey, Josie, good to see you. Yeah, today we're going to be going through some more of the story and pages here too. And you've got your FZA icons out. They're the logos that are in chat. And Murphy Turpy's here too. Hello, Murph. Great to have you here. Yes, so we're going to be going through some more of the evidence, and you'll see I have put into chat a few things for everyone to refer to, and they're also in the description of the video as well. So if those things that are up or FZA, I say FZA because I'm an Aussie and I say it correctly.
I say fizza.
Oh, you say fizza, right?
Yes.
That's just because you're a weirdo.
Zah? You say zah?
Okay, so these things here. So we've got the Twitter link. We have all the regular stuff, the website, but also we have some things that we're going to be referring to today. So we have the full text string between Narita Macias and Rosalia Gutierrez. And there's just Narita. So I've just put a short link to them there, but that's also in the description. You'll find also that there is a detailed timeline of the incident, the entire incident, and that is also on the website. And I provided a direct link to that. And what else have I provided? Oh, yep, there is the official evidence. A full outline of the official evidence can be found there. So now this gives you, oh, there's a murderous bird out there. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an idea of the kind of things that we're going to be covering today. And because we're going to be getting into some stuff that we can't possibly cover in the hour and a bit time that we're going to be streaming for, if you want to dive further into this testimony, go into those links. Okay, but I'm going to be giving you top level overview as I always do. So just figure, yeah, let's always make sure that people can get access to the rest of the testimony and the evidence. Hello, Lynn Dalton. Good to have you back as well. And you do pick on me, don't you? You too. Okay, so let's get into it. Alrighty, and where is our thingy bob? There it is there. Okay, and oh, it's a white screen, so let's go like that. Woo! Welcome to part 4. Zachariah Anderson, not a murderer, an urgent fight for justice. We're up to part 4 already. Okay, so today, as per usual, we just do a little quick recap because, as you know, this stream is aimed at beginners, so people who have never been in contact with this case at all. And if you have a look at the views on the last stream, there's something like 1,200 views or something. Okay, so people watch these afterwards. All right. Oh, and by the way, today, for the very first time, I'm streaming this out to Facebook as well. So if you are on Facebook, hello. I don't think we've got anyone over there just yet. If you are on Facebook and you can share this to friends, please go ahead and do it. They can watch later. They don't have to watch live. It'll still be up there on Facebook later. So yeah, sure, people don't have to watch this stuff live. They can always watch it on recap. But yeah, we're getting views later, which is great. People are watching the playlist. Fantastic. So quick recap, the charges: 2 counts of stalking, 1st degree intentional homicide, and 1 count of hiding a corpse. The 2 counts of stalking are Rosario Gutierrez and Sandy, and then I was going to say Shady. Sadie Beecham. Do you want to answer?
Oh, I'm very good. How are you, Josie?
Oh. And oh, hey, Mads.
Hey, Mads. Age.
Are you on a boat, Mads? Ahoy.
Matey.
Matey. And 1st degree intentional homicide of Mr. Rosario Gutierrez and hiding a corpse. And as you might know, if you've been watching this up till now, his corpse was never found. He was only declared deceased by way of jury verdict when the jury actually decided that Mr. Zachariah Anderson was guilty of the intentional homicide and the hiding of the corpse, which was never found. How you find someone guilty of hiding a corpse when there was no corpse, I do not understand. But anyway, moving on. Is Zach wearing clothes today? Yes. Yes, he's wearing clothes. There he is. Same clothes as always, though, because, you know, he's one of those ephemeral kind of cartoon characters who always wears the white shirt and the jeans. Okay, so let's review the people we've met so far. I thought it was a good idea that we would just go back over the characters that we've met and everyone sort of put them into context. And I've given them all little name tags. Hey, Christine. Okay, so Zach, obviously we know who Zach is. And then, oh yeah, that's right. Do you want to read this out?
The fastest, cleanest, stealthiest unaliver in the history of unalivers.
Yes, he is. Yes, we worked that out last week. Okay, so yes, he's very good at doing the stuff that the state says he does. He must be, in order to have achieved everything that they said he achieved in the very short period of time. Otherwise, it's impossible, right? So how did he manage to get that 260-pound man bludgeoned and then rolled up in some carpet in a period of how long? 3 and a bit hours?
Yeah.
Something like that. He managed to do that driving from his home in Mequon to Wisconsin, which takes about an hour and 10 minutes if you go by the normal route, which would have therefore been caught on cameras. But the problem was he wasn't caught on any cameras. So therefore he's stealthy, right? So he had to avoid the cameras, right? So either he flew or he went on the back street, but the back streets take like 1 hour and 27 minutes or something like that. So he managed to do all that, and he managed to not create any little drip, like like marks, like dragging the body out. Plus, he's got a bad back, and I don't know how he managed to get that body into the car.
There's
And
no way.
it's just, I don't know. I don't know how he did it. And apparently, there was just one little pinhead prick of blood that we're not even really sure if it was blood. We can't tell really if it was Rosalio's DNA, because that wasn't definitive either. But he managed to do all that in this really, really short period of time. So he's like Super Zach. He's Super Zach. So anyway, that's why we think he might be superpowers. Oh, he's also known as Houdini. Yeah. So when he was in jail, when they first put him in jail, some of his cellmates, I believe, came up with this name for him because he can make a corpse disappear. If those things are true, if it were possible for him to be able to do those things, he would be Houdini. Because I don't know, like, how many people who are watching this or watching this later watch a lot of like true crime and things like that. But it's actually kind of difficult to get rid of a body and have no one find any trace of the body at all. Like getting rid of every little speck of evidence of a body is really tricky. Like all the bones, like it's very difficult to burn them, to like completely remove everything to do with the body. It's really, really difficult. There's always some trace left somewhere. But no trace of Rosalia. No trace of Rosalia, which is very sad for his family, obviously. Even sadder is that they've never found the real perpetrators of this. Okay. But actually, he's just a dude with a bad back. He's not those things. Now, we also met Sadie, which is Zach's ex. We've seen a little bit of her so far. And we haven't really met their daughter. We just know that their daughter exists. And for the purposes of anything that we see of her going forward, because she does testify in the trial, her name is OA. Okay, so they have a daughter and they have little twin sons as well. So, yep, that's their family. Now, we also met Rosalio. That was Sadie's new boyfriend and alleged victim. Now, I'm only saying alleged victim because as far as we're concerned, like, he's definitely a victim of something, right? He's disappeared. Like, he definitely got beat up. Something happened because his blood was all over the place. Hello, Obscure Destinations Outdoor. What's up? Howdy from the sunny Everglades. You go fun places and do all sorts of excellent things, and it's lovely to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for bothering to be here for the live and saying hello. That's so nice of you. Great to have you here. Okay, so yes, he's definitely a victim of something, but we don't know whether we don't believe he's Zach's victim, right? But he's a victim of something. That's all. Okay, moving on. Now, we also met Rebecca. I think I'm spelling it correctly. Rebecca with a K. That's Sadie's friend. And the reason I've got her on the phone is because she tends to be on the phone to Sadie a lot. That's why. Hey, Shani Graham. Good to see you. Oh, okay. You and Dali, I miss you guys. Oh, you're back. Oh, that's right.
I'm glad you're back.
Something happened to your YouTube account or something, didn't it?
Aww.
Something happened. It's great to have you back. Welcome back. Okay. And Christine. We met Christine, which was Zach's new girlfriend, right? So, and it's important that we recognize Christine because Zach had moved on, right? He still had feelings for Sadie, right? But he wasn't this obsessed person that he was painted to be, right? So it wasn't like he was sitting alone in his room and he was just like all day, every day, oh, Sadie, Sadie, Sadie. It wasn't like that. He had a girlfriend. He had moved on as well, right? So Sadie was dating and he was dating too. Yeah. So there was sort of a mischaracterization going on when it came to the trial and the evidence put forth. Yeah, well, that's no good, Shani Graham. We hope you're feeling better and welcome back. Okay, let's keep going. All right. So we also briefly met. Oh, goodness me, what's going on with my dog? Oh, calm down out there. Okay, we also briefly met two of Rosalio's other Facebook dating matches. Okay, so if you remember, Rosalio and Sadie met on Facebook dating. We don't have Facebook dating here, so that's kind of like that was a bit of a weird thing for me to even hear that existed. But yeah, so they met on Facebook dating, and but little did Sadie know that he was actually still meeting other women on Facebook dating at the same time. So last week, we saw the testimony of this lady here on the left. So that's Kim Lavora. Isn't she cute? I love her smile. She's adorable. And the reason we looked at her testimony, it was quite short, but she actually spoke to Rosalio on the phone twice on the night that he allegedly went missing or disappeared. So she had two conversations with him, and that just proved that he was definitely alive that night. Up until I think it was 9:44 p.m. from memory. I'd have to go back and double check that exact time, but he was definitely alive, and she spoke to him. I think she was the last one to speak to him on the phone. So yeah, her testimony was important, and it just showed that there were at least two other ladies in his life that we know of. Now, the other one here is this one here, Narita Messias, Facebook date B, and we're going to look at her more tonight. Okay, so Narita Messias, and she actually had a date with Rosalio that very night. Who's this, Mads? Are we talking about Kim? Kim both texted and phone called with Rosalio over a period of a couple of months. So February. February was when they met, like matched on Facebook, and they texted and phone called, but they never actually met. That was what her testimony was. But on the night that he disappeared or alleged to have disappeared, they had two phone calls. One that was 2 minutes and one that was 17 minutes or so. You mixed up Kim with Narita? Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay. Graphics are awesome. Thank you. This is just Canva. I'm more of a like Adobe girl, so Photoshop and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I do lessons. All right. Okay, there are many characters in the story of Rosalio's disappearance whose stories raise questions, and Miss Messias is definitely one, right? She's definitely one. Now, I just want to put it right out there right now. I am not putting forward in any way whatsoever that Miss Messias is like potentially a suspect in the unaliving or disappearance, that she did that or anything like that, right? So I'm just going to put that out there right now. That doesn't mean, oh, no, no, I didn't think it was an insult. most of your 180 subscribers come from Tumblr.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you have 180,000 subscribers? Really? Wow, I need to go hang out with you. Okay. You're such a lovely new subscriber, and you're being really supportive. So thank you, Obscure Destination.
Glad you're here.
I didn't take it as a insult at all. Yep. Anyway, and oh, hey John, how are you?
Hey, John.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not putting it out there that she's in any way a suspect in the actual act at all, but there is suspicion around it's sus, her testimony, and there's reasons for that. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, now you like my Gravely?
God.
Okay, so this is Michael Gravely, and he's the district attorney, right? And I think you said, Dali, in the first episode that part of the reason why you found this case to be a bit sus, I keep saying sus, in the first instance was because he was right there in the courtroom prosecuting it. Do you want to tell us what that means?
It means he has a personal vested interest in the outcome. Prosecutors or district attorneys only take high profile cases they think they can win, to make a name for themselves. Most of all, this was the 5th no body prosecution of a unaliving case in Wisconsin, and the first in Kenosha. So to get the win for this is a huge notch on his belt. He
Yeah,
wanted a conviction, no matter what.
yeah. So like he's like the top guy,
Yeah,
right?
district
In
attorney.
in the prosecutor's office, right? So he's like the big boss. Yeah. And so this is one murder case amongst many, I would think, but he's decided that this is the one he wants to win, right? So he's there with his assistant DA and they're prosecuting it personally. So that in itself raises some red flags, I would think. He really, really wants to win. He doesn't want to walk away without a win.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's that. But before we see Miss Messiah's witness testimony, let's see why this guy wasn't allowed to be in the courtroom for her testimony. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Right? And the jury didn't get to see this. The jury didn't get to see this. Let's see why he actually wasn't allowed in. So this is outside the presence of the jury, just before Miss Messias was taken up to the witness stand.
Billy of who?
Well,
Credibility of who is an issue?
well, that's a good question. I guess I'd have to be, if,
Looks
well, if
constipated.
credibility comes into issue, or if there's an inconsistency of any kind between your recollection of events and that of the witness here, that I think you're probably going to be precluded from arguing anything about the case. But let's push it on.
So,
The question, so I can orient myself. I was obviously also present during the interview of Ms. Macias that day.
But you're not on the witness list.
Okay, so let's stop this for a second. So what they're talking about is the fact that Ms. Messias had given a statement just not long after the incident. So she actually had turned up to Mr. Rosalio's house, Mr. Rosalio Gutierrez's house, the night of his alleged disappearance. And she'd given a statement to police about how long she'd been there, where she'd parked, what she'd seen. And then later, quite a long time later, actually, in 2022, because the incident was in 2020, in 2022, she was contacted by the district attorney's office and invited to a meeting. And after that meeting, her statement or her testimony changed, right? It changed. Okay, so the defense knew about this, and as a result, the defense actually called him as a witness. Sorry, I'll backtrack just a little bit. There was, this all went to trial, and because of this inconsistency, a mistrial was caused, right? So a mistrial was caused because of this whole issue. So Zach's case was actually delayed because of this issue with Mr. Gravely and this witness's testimony, right? So he was stuck in jail for an extra year or so because of this, right? Now, they're arguing about the fact that Mr. Gravely being on the witness list, because the defense has called him as a witness, he potentially had a conversation with a witness which may have changed her testimony. So therefore, the defense has a right to call him if they wish and ask him about that. The judge is making a decision as to whether or not he may even, not just may he question her, but may he even be in the courtroom to watch her being questioned, which is obviously a big blow to
Yeah,
his
F you.
ego.
Yeah.
And it's, he's the DA. Imagine him being thrown out of the courtroom for a one of his own witnesses. So that's what they're talking about. So let's
Yeah.
have a little bit of a look back.
Right, but if then the next tactic or stunt becomes, well, now, say Mr. Gravely eventually has to take the
hi,
stand,
Jen.
which shouldn't happen because it's not an inconsistent statement, but let's play hypotheticals. So then Mr. Gravely takes the stand. He's already
Hey,
made it
Jen.
pretty clear that his memory is not necessarily sterling, which is why at the previous hearing, he did lean over to me and ask me who was present. So at that point,
She was there too.
hypothetically, he takes the stand and doesn't have clear recollections because that's the status of the world, given what he does for a living. Then are they then opening the door to then trying to call me to the stand as well? Because
Why
I
not?
would have the better recollection.
This is legal jeopardy.
No, but it's the next logical jump in.
I don't want to get into next logical jumps.
Okay. So now she's worried
Clearly.
that so now she's worried that if they call him to the stand, then the next logical jump is, well, why can't they then call me to the stand? Right? Because she was there too. Right? Because if he comes along, if Mr. Gravely comes along and goes, well, I just don't recall, which is a standard thing to say on the witness stand, right?
Yeah.
I just don't recall.
And
Right.
that was, unless there was a specific reason I'm not privy to, Jen is here. But I thought it was a serious misstep. The defense did not try to put him on the stand.
No, they
Just-
didn't in the end. Yeah.
They did not try, unless there was something that happened behind the scenes. And I just feel like it would have really thrown Gravely's balance off, and just
Mm.
it would have made him look really bad, the state. So I think that was a
I
mistake.
don't know what the reasoning was behind that in the end.
There could be a reason, but
But don't worry, we're going to get more into the whole thing about them having a meeting, guys. So don't worry about that. But I
Okay.
just wanted to, because she gets on the stand later and there's more talk about that, I just wanted to look at the arguments that happened prior to Ms. Messiah's actually getting onto the stand. So this happened outside the presence of the jury, but we on the outside here in the world got to see this, but the jury didn't. Right? Thank goodness we get to see it at least. Right? So thank you for cameras in the courtroom, because no one at all would have seen this except the lawyers and the judge. Right? So at least some things get picked up. Let's keep going.
I've said what I have to say at this point, and that's where we're at.
Judge, first of all, none of this is a stunt.
I don't want to get into it.
Defense didn't create
The
any of
jury's
this.
in the back room.
Okay. The point is that the issue here is that this witness, this critical witness, significantly changed her story from all the reports we had before that February trial from last year. And those two prosecutors were the only two people with her when she did that.
And I said last time, I thought that was a mistake.
Yes.
And I granted a mistrial because I thought it was a mistake.
And contrary to Mr. Gravely's representation, while the defense agreed to a mistrial, we were forced into it because of that exact flow of events created by him. So I just wanted that to be clear, that this is not something that the defense cooked up. This is a stunt.
I don't want to hear any more. There have been jibes periodically throughout the trial, and I've had as much as I want to hear. I want to get this case put to the jury and a true and just verdict reached. Okay?
Okay.
Any question about what the rule is now?
I understand the court's ruling, Judge. Can I just have 5 minutes to reorient myself with the exact exhibits, since this was
You may.
anticipated to be Mr. Gravy's witness? Thank you.
And you were ordering him to be out of the room during this.
Haha, here we go.
Again, I would object, Judge. As the court knows, I'm acting as a steward of the evidence and the discussions in this case. I intend to make an argument in this case at the end. For me to not be able to watch this key witness is not appropriate. It's no different than Detective Correa, who was a case officer and who testified in this case.
I will permit you to watch the video of the testimony before argument.
Yeah,
If
but
you were
he's
going
worried
to
about
give
how
me-
it's going to look.
Okay,
And I'll even let you listen to the audio.
yeah, I'm going to ask that the court not have the jury have the specter of me not be present. The court has not found that I engaged in any misconduct.
I am going to give a brief instruction to the jury that our attorney rules have provisions about lawyers on the case testifying. And for that reason, I've asked you to step outside the room. I'm not going to say anything assessing any fault or any misconduct or mistake or anything else. Just to explain to you them why you are not in the room. Okay,
So 5 or so minutes.
Okay.
with the emphasis on the 5.
All right. So, I mean, I guess that saved him some face in some way that.
I think
that
that
the judge-
instruction kind of makes him look worse, but that's just me. But
No,
regardless.
like, I mean, I don't think the jury would understand what that meant.
Mm.
But yeah, clearly Mr. Gravely was very worried about how it would look that he wasn't in the room for a certain witness. That was far more important to him than him actually even seeing the witness being testifying, just how he would look. But there's clearly a reason, wasn't there, why he was not allowed in the room. Anyway, so let's move on and we'll look more at this. Okay, so now let's look at some of Ms. Messiah's, and she goes also by the name Nettie, witness testimony on direct. And we're gonna, basically, I'll let you know, guys, today, we have about, all up, we have about 20 minutes of testimony, so not too much, right? And we're gonna break it into bits. And that's within the whole stream. So we're not doing like tons of testimony throughout any of our streams. We're looking at sort of the salient points, and I'm leaving out a fair bit. You can always go and watch the entire testimony over on Bielhammer's channel. If you want to watch it with commentary, I would recommend definitely going and watching on David's channel, MLSN, and there's plenty of other places as well. But I want to bring up certain aspects of the testimony to focus on, and that's why I've cut it down to these particular pieces. All right, so let's have a look. Okay, let's go. So first we'll do direct. So she's a state's witness. And we're going to have a look.
And this is on State's Exhibit 1.
At her text
Number
messages
344.
with him on that night. When I say him, that's Rosalio.
Ms. Macias, do you recognize this phone number up here at the top?
Yes, that's not
Okay. And would that be a nickname for you as well as your last name?
Nettie, yes.
And do
Natty
you
Light?
recall asking this question of Mr. Gutierrez Jr.?
Yes.
And what is that question that is up there?
Where do babies
What
come
town
from?
do you live at?
And he then responds with Kenosha. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And he then gives you a little bit further information. I live right by UW Parkside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, at this point, were you developing a plan for you to come down and meet him?
That day, yes.
And do you recall if there were suggestions about different things that you guys could do, you know, given the status of the world back in May of 2020?
Hulu
Oh,
and
that's
shit.
right. It was COVID.
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Really?
let's move on to your next message. Does it read, "What's open" from you?
Yeah.
And then you ask around by you,
My couch.
and he responds, all the Kenosha bars are open. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And do you recall your response being, we are not going to a bar?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because going to the bar, obviously you're going to drink. I'm not going to drink and drive, only because of where I work at.
And ultimately, what did you guys decide would the plan be on May 17th that evening?
The plan was to pick them up and go out, I don't know, just drive around and get to know each other, basically.
Drive around
And
and
so
get
as
to know
part of
each
that
other.
plan,
It's a little weird.
did he text you his address?
Yes.
And direct your attention back to the screen. This is now page number 151
Yeah, if I
of
didn't work at the
State's
court, it
Exhibit
would have been
1,
okay.
number 344. And would the address that he texted you on May 17th at 6:58 PM be 3709 15th Street, apartment 1B? Is that what he texted you?
Yes.
Now, once you had that address in your phone, what did you do to look up where he lived?
I looked it up on Google Maps to see where exactly he
That's
lived.
an important point, guys. Remember her saying that.
It did, in the beginning, kind of scared me because I wasn't sure if it was
She
a good
looked it up
idea
on Google
to
Maps.
go or not. But his personality really caught my attention. So I went for it and drove out there. So here.
And
Sorry, Shani Graham, which lawyer are you talking about?
I'm guessing Mueller, and I think she was a good attorney, but
She was.
I think she was
showing you that
constrained
same exhibit again.
in some ways.
This is specifically page 149.
No lawyer is perfect.
She did miss a few opportunities. I agree with you on that. But I mean, watching this back, every time I watch this back, I'm just floored by how incredible her arguments are. Like,
Yeah.
and how tough she is. She just will not roll over. She's great.
And
so
at the
I
end of
just-
the day, I hate to say it, but Gravely should be honest, but he is a good attorney. I hate to say it, but he is good at conflating the facts, and he's corrupt, in my opinion. Don't get me
he's
wrong.
corrupt,
I'm not
but yeah.
praising him, because as a prosecutor, he should be honest above all else.
Yep.
But he's very good at throwing crap into a ceiling fan. And
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you that because
Yeah.
I mean, like, I remember we've had this conversation with other lawyers that have come onto this stream before, and I mean, when it comes down to it, it's theater.
Yeah.
It's about selling a story,
Yeah.
and especially from the prosecutor's point of view, because they
They all-
weren't there. They don't know what really happened. They've got this set of supposed facts. They've got this set of this evidence, and they need to make it fit in order to get their end goal, right? And that's what he did. He's got this guy. He wants to get him convicted, and
how
how do you make these 12 people believe that?
Yeah.
And he did it, right? And it's acting, really.
Yeah.
It's just performance art,
Theater,
and he did it. And so I suppose, what you're saying is he is kind of good at that.
Yeah.
Like, it's completely immoral,
Yeah.
but he's kind of good at that.
And I hate to say it.
Yeah, I hate to say it.
Yeah.
And Schroeder didn't like Nicole. No, he did not.
He's an old
he
school
did-
lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he had an issue with her being a woman. I don't know. Or it was something
Okay.
else.
Let's leave that up long enough to read it. I didn't read it.
I don't know.
It's okay.
Maybe it's something else.
a different judge, things could have been different. Oh, with a different judge, things definitely could have been different. Absolutely. And we could talk about that for a whole stream. In fact, let's leave that for another stream. Let's do a stream on Schroeder, because he let the state just run roughshod over the whole case. He really did. I was so disappointed in Schroeder. I really was. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going.
True, Mads.
So at approximately 6:56 p.m., he tells you, no worries, take your time. I still have to drop off Ava and she lives 45 minutes away. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And you respond with an okay?
Yes.
Then is it you that sends him a message saying 8:30 or 9
Yes.
with some question marks?
Yes.
And he responds 9 will be safer?
Yes.
And you say okay? Then we get into where he gave you his apartment address.
Yes.
Are you yelling at your cats?
And then did he give you the full address at approximately 8:15 p.m. on the 17th, including Kenosha, Wisconsin, 53144?
Banging cabinets.
You have to answer.
Well, we're waiting. You can do it. Speak. Speak. You can do it. Speak. Speak. Any day now. I believe in you. Speak.
Like, okay, she's really frustrated. Okay?
At some point, does he tell you that, according to his GPS, he'll be home at 9:01 p.m.?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. She can talk.
Come on now.
Direct your attention back to the screen. And as your conversation continues at approximately 8:25 p.m., does he tell you, see you soon?
Yes.
You say back K. Is that accurate?
Correct. Yes.
This is so
Then
sexy,
he asks
this
if you want him to
conversation.
pick you up anything to drink, Corona, Bacardi, or Jameson.
Correct.
And you indicate you'll settle for a beer.
Yeah, I thought you didn't want to go
Does he then indicate to you other drink options?
Yes.
And is your response water is perfect?
Oh,
Lightweight.
And then I don't want to get a DUI.
that's hot.
And he then texts you, I understand.
Yes.
You can always stay at my place, babe.
Oh,
So after receiving that last message, do you then proceed down to Mr. Gutierrez's residence to meet him for the first time?
Correct. Yes.
And what map program were you using, if you recall?
Google.
MapQuest.
And so did you put in the address he had given you of 3709 15th Street 1B into that map program?
Yes.
And then were you texting him updates about your progress?
Yes.
So I'm going to show you once again up there.
she seems very certain
We
about.
left off with him saying, I understand at 8:27 p.m.
8:27 p.m.
And then
He said,
at 9:37 p.m., is that you indicating you're 5 minutes away?
at 9:30.
And then at 9:43 p.m., indicating I'm here?
Correct.
Hang
6
on a minute.
minutes.
Hang on a
That you
minute.
indicating you're 5 minutes away,
That's what happened there. Hang on.
and then
8:27 p.m. He says I understand, and then at
at
9:37
9:37 p.m.
Wait. 8:27 p.m. he says I understand, and then at 9:37 p.m. she says 5 minutes away. That's over an hour. That's over an
So-
hour.
That was the last message he sent.
Yeah, that was the last minute message he sent,
So
but
She
that's
was
an
there.
hour.
at an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. I don't think it takes an hour and 10 minutes to get to his house. But anyway, let's keep going.
Is that you indicating you're 5 minutes away?
She's a safe driver. She doesn't want to do
And then at 9:43 p.m. indicating I'm here.
Okay, that's even longer.
And then at 9:44 p.m. asking where do I park?
Yes.
And at 9:52 p.m. are you okay?
Yes.
And at 10:05 p.m. I'm worried about you. Are you okay? And then at 10:18 p.m. indicating I left. And I'm gonna scroll back up
But she feels
to-
kind of bad now that she got so angry at
the
him.
top of page 158. After Mr. Gutierrez has sent you, I understand, and it says delivered. When looking at your messages, what is the status of each message that you send after that, if you can tell?
Says unread.
And that's
Unread.
on each of these are unread?
Yeah, it says unread.
Unread, sir.
Lady, she just told you it says unread.
Unread.
Unread?
So after 8:25 p.m. when he texts you, I understand, do you hear anything further from Mr. Gutierrez Jr.?
No.
To this day, have you ever heard anything further from Mr. Gutierrez?
No.
Now I'm going to show you a map of the Wood Creek apartment buildings.
Okay, watch this.
Now, when you came down to meet with Mr. Gutierrez, can you, with a pointer, Judge, can I get the pointer from you?
Hi, Myra M.
Ms. Macias,
Happy
can you
here.
take the pointer? And can you go up on this map and explain when you came into this apartment complex, where you went, and then where buildings are in front of?
I'm sorry. I pulled in through the driveway and I parked right here.
And is that where your GPS took you to that building?
Correct. This building.
And when you first pulled in and parked right there, what did you do next in front of that building?
Look
I
at
waited
this
a few
face.
minutes because I was nervous. I really wanted to get to know him. So I figured the door is like right here. So I pulled in a little closer by some dumpsters
Did she just mouth that?
and I waited there for a couple minutes
Can you
more.
go back like
You
10
what?
seconds? Go back 10, 15
And-
seconds.
Yeah.
And I waited there for a couple minutes more.
Hang on.
Figured the door is like right here. So I pulled in a little
Oh, no,
closer
she's
by
saying something
some
else.
dumpsters.
Okay.
And I
wouldn't
waited there
surprise me,
for a
just-
couple minutes more.
No.
Not that time.
And do you recall what the weather was like that night?
It was like drizzling. It was kind of like raining.
Drizzling, kind of like raining.
And obviously you got there at sometime around 9:30, 9:45 p.m. Was it dark out?
Yes.
And so besides parking in those locations you've talked about in front of that apartment, what else did you do, if anything?
Since I wanted to see when he came out, I parked across. I saw a guy that moved out his vehicle, so I parked right in front of the door so I can see when he comes out. I can just kind of flash my lights. But he never came out.
And ultimately you then left the area and went back home?
I waited there a few minutes, but he never came out. So I When I pulled out, I ended up parking right here.
Oh,
And I kept texting him, "Are you okay?" I don't know if he was in the shower or married.
why
Did
would
not
he be
know,
in the
so I
shower at that
left.
time?
You can
Getting
grab a
ready
seat,
for
thank
that
you.
booty call.
Now, prior to that night, had you ever been to the, what is commonly here called the Wood Creek Apartments before?
Never.
Were you familiar with this area of Kenosha?
No.
Okay, right. So you saw the text messages, and by the way, the link that I put up before, it's in the description if you want to read all the text messages. And also, she said that she used Google Maps to get there, and she showed you where she supposedly parked. Right, let's keep going. All right, so what came out of that? Ms. Messiah said she used Google Maps that night to get to Rosalio's apartment. She said she parked out the front and sent several messages which were left unread. She asked if well he was okay, and then she said she left. She goes, "Are you okay?" I left. Right. So she hung out there for a bit. She didn't say really how long she hung out there. Right. So it was that was kind of glossed over. There was no real talk about like how long were you there and like what was your plan and all that kind of thing. It was just sort of, oh yeah, I was there, I parked, I sent him a message, sent him another message, asked
Yeah,
if it was okay, and then left.
it's really weird. Like, if I drove an hour to go to somebody's house
Mm,
and they just ignored me, I'd be pissed.
yeah.
I wouldn't be like, are
You
you there?
believe she saw something, or do we believe she saw nothing and she was in front of the right house?
Mm.
Don't know. Because this is the thing. If she was in front of the right house and she saw nothing in that period of time, that really takes a big chunk out of the block of time that they say that Zach would have been there. Yeah. So a few things. So yeah, either she saw something and it's not the thing that the DA wants you to know, or she saw nothing and she was in front of the right house, and that would have been the exact time when they hoped that Zach was there. Okay, so let's keep going. All right, so let's keep going at this. So the full exhibit showing the text string between Rosalio and Narita can be found there. And also I've linked it in the description. Oh, my kitty cat has just pulled out my cord and I can't see, so I can't press the forward button.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. All right, okay, fix it up. Just wait for it to come back. Ah, cats everywhere. Cats, cats, cats. Causing trouble. Okay, there we go. Dear me. Next. Okay, something else. Something else. Nettie just happened across a Facebook post that got her worried. And this was a couple of days later. Let's just hear about that before we get to Cross.
I actually came from Milwaukee because I saw on Facebook. Since I was not friends with Rosalia on Facebook, I was kind of curious. How come I didn't hear from him Sunday, May 17, 18, 19? I didn't hear from him. So I looked on Facebook and it said, "Have you heard any information from Rosalia Gutierrez? Please report to police." So I drove down personally to speak with Kenosha Police because I was concerned. And then I spoke with the detective and I explained to him what happened, or is everything okay? And he asked me some questions.
She drove from Milwaukee to Wisconsin because she saw a post on Facebook and she wasn't even friends with him, but she looked it up. And then rather than just calling, she actually drove all the way to talk to them about the fact that she had been there that night. And by the way, it was at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's a bit strange. Okay, so cool. Let's keep going. Alrighty. But what would she have to be worried about, really? Why was she so worried, do you think, that she had to drive all that way? I have a theory on that one, and I think some of you who know the case might be in agreement about this one. And I've just isolated the little bit of testimony on cross that may explain this little piece. Just wait till it gets to it. Hello.
It was the night before. I know it was the night before, and it was a nighttime. And I said, "Oh, geez, I gotta go over there and see what's going on."
You got to go over there.
Like come to Kenosha and find out, like, is everything okay? Because I don't know. Like, I had the conversation last, and me working at the time period for the district attorney office, my job is important. I'm a mother. I don't know. I just thought the best thing to do was to give the officer my phone.
She worked
so
for
May
the district
20th was
attorney
a
office.
Wednesday. I want to go back to the Facebook post. So May 19th was a Tuesday. So you're saying you saw that Facebook post the evening hours of May 19th, 2020.
Yes.
So not in the morning.
Not in the morning. It was
Not around 7 or 8 a.m.
Isn't that interesting? Right. So she saw a Facebook post. She wasn't friends with him. She went looking it up, and rather than calling the police in the area, she drove all the way from Milwaukee to Wisconsin to make sure everything was okay. Oh my God, cats! Okay, to make sure everything was okay, because she was the last to see him. So she said she was there that night, and I work for the district attorney's office. My job is important. I'm a mother. Okay, now things are starting to add up, aren't they? Right? And let's recall that there was a meeting between her and the district attorney in 2022, long after the event, and her testimony changed. Things are getting very interesting, aren't they? Let's keep going. Yes, turns out Ms. Messias works for the district attorney's office. How about that? How about that? Are you starting to see why this is looking fishy? This witness's testimony varied significantly from the account she gave to detectives. It changed after a private meeting with the DA in 2022. And how about that? Yeah. So, look, there's the Red Messiah and Michael Gravely, and he goes, Google all the way. Right? Google all the way. Okay. So, private meeting in 2022. So, let's look at Ms. Nicole Muller catching on to this, because none of this was discussed clearly. None of this was discussed on direct. This was brought out by Ms. Nicole Muller, Zach's badass defense attorney, and yeah, I think she's badass. Is that how Aussies speak? How about that? I'm just doing my best. How about that? No, that's not an Aussie thing, man. That's an American thing. There's a chick who says that. What's her name?
How about that?
That's not how she says it. She goes, "Catch me outside." How about that? You know
How
that
about that? Ah.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
No.
Oh.
Ms. Macias, this is the text message that you sent to Mr. Gutierrez with a screenshot of your maps, correct?
Yes.
And you had an iPhone, correct? I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 237. is the screenshot that was in that text message, correct?
Yes.
And in this, it's your address to 3709 15th Street. And it's saying that it's going to take a total of 37 minutes. Sorry, if you could just say yes or no for the mandatory reporter.
Answer, speak, woman.
And this screenshot is actually from Apple Maps, correct?
Done.
That's Apple Map?
It's
So
MapQuest,
you didn't
woman.
use Gmail, you used Apple Maps.
I use Gmail and Apple Maps. I don't know if it was the second time when I went out there to meet with the detectives, so it must have been. So I must have used Apple Maps to meet up with him, but I must have used Google Maps to go see the detectives to meet up with them.
Oh, you must have, right.
Okay, so when you went on May 17th, 2020, you used Apple Maps,
Okay.
correct?
Yes.
And it would take you 37 minutes according to Apple Maps.
That's
Yes.
much less. Okay, so I don't know if you guys chat. Who's used both? Like if you've got an iPhone and
I
you've
use
got both.
MapQuest.
Okay, well you're not the one to ask. But
No, I use
used both?
Waze.
You use Waze. All right.
Yeah.
Well, do you have an iPhone?
No.
You
Not a
don't seem like an
communist.
iPhone kind of guy to me.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a
All right.
communist.
If you've got an iPhone, then you would have Google Maps and Apple Maps on your iPhone, right? I will tell you right now, they take you to completely different places, right? So, and Google Maps is not as good as Apple Maps in terms of accuracy, right? So Google Maps will take you to wave at the place that you are trying to get to. So drive past it,
Sure.
basically. It does. And Apple Maps will actually take you to the front door of the place that you're trying to get to. So
Sure, that's why
and
Hella
this
tried to
happens-
tell me that it took her to her ex-boyfriend's house by mistake.
You're crazy.
That's her justification for it.
Oh, like legit, like I have been like going to a place and rather than Google Maps taking me to the entrance of the place, it's taking me to the road that goes past it, but that can't turn right into the entrance, like a one-way street, but I can't turn right. Right. So I can just like look at it, but I can't get to it. Whereas Apple Maps will find me a way to get into an actual road that will let me in. Right. So, and this happens invariably. So it's like Apple actually, like, it's just far more user friendly. So that's my experience with the two. They're just really different. They take you to different places. So the fact that she's testifying to having used Google Maps on the night of in 2020 when the incident happened, when she really didn't, proves that it could have taken her to a different place in the apartment complex. It absolutely could have.
Sure.
I think they should have had a expert witness to state.
Well, they should have had a couple, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. Oh, you did experiment, did you, Mara M?
I'd ask that Defense Exhibit 237 be moved into evidence.
Could you put a few comments about that
Christine?
and tell us what happened? Huh.
Correct, thank you. It was on. It's just making. So, in your text messages, you and Mr. Gutierrez had agreed to meet at 9 p.m., correct?
Yes.
Did Zach just move the mic for her to hear better?
And you sent that
That's sweet.
screenshot that said 37 minutes. And do you remember texting Mr. Gutierrez at 8:24 p.m. that you were going to start leaving your house?
At 8:24?
Correct.
It's around 8, but I can't remember the times. I need to see the time. Sorry.
Pull up what's marked as defense minute 236.
Really, Mar? Well, there you go. Hmm. These two are like eyeing each other off. These two. It's like going on. Okay, calm down. I tend to agree, Jen. I watched this testimony over and over, and I don't think she's stupid. I think she's
Okay, so the message in the
playing
blue is
stupid.
your message, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey,
And you
stop
send a
it.
text that says, okay, no worries. I love driving. It'll give me time to jam more. I'm going to start leaving my house.
Mhm.
That was at
Yes.
8:24,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Your plan was to meet at 9, correct?
Correct.
So 37 minutes from 8:24 would be around 9 p.m., correct?
Correct.
Now, in your text messages and in your direct testimony, you said that you're there, I'm here, at 9:43 p.m., correct?
Yes.
And prior to that, you didn't text Mr. Gutierrez that you were running 40 minutes behind, did you?
No, I did not.
You didn't call him and tell him you were running behind, correct?
No, I did not.
And he didn't call you asking you where you were, correct?
No.
And he didn't text you asking where you were.
I'm sorry.
Is there an answer?
No.
Could we have the witness speak directly into the microphone? We can't hear her at all over here.
Could we have the witness freaking speak once?
Is it on?
Is there an answer? Are you answering? No, there was.
Oh, I was
No,
saying,
the microphone is on. Your mouth is
no,
not.
that was the answer.
No was the answer.
Yes.
The first question.
The court reporter is not telepathic, woman.
So you also testified about how it was your plan to
I ask questions, you answer questions.
drive around, to meet up, come and drive around.
I love this bit.
Yes, to get to know each other. I was too afraid to go to his house. I didn't want to go in there. I just wanted to basically get to know him and just get to know him a little better.
But you didn't text about that plan, correct?
No, I didn't.
You didn't talk to him that day about that plan, correct?
We did earlier when we were actually talking, when I was working.
On the phone.
Correct.
So what was the plan then for when you got there? At 9 p.m., what was the plan?
Don't know. We just wanted to get to know each other once I got there and see what was the plan. Either go to a bar, to a restaurant.
Well, I'm asking more
Well, now you
about
wanna
the
go to a bar?
specific details of your plan. You said that you were waiting outside for him to come out. Did you talk about that he
Yeah.
would come out to meet you?
I think His plan was maybe for me to come in, but I would not go in there.
No.
My plan was just to sit outside, maybe in the car, and just get to know each other.
So his plan was for you to come in, but your plan was for him to come out.
Correct.
So what plan did you make that you solidified of what would happen when you arrived there at 9 p.m.?
What plan did I make?
Truck?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that question?
You just testified, previously you testified that the plan was he was going to come out and you guys were going to go for a ride together. Just now you testified that he wanted the plan according to him was that you were going to come inside.
I'm thinking maybe he wanted me to come in. I don't know what was he thinking, but I can tell you that my plan was for him to come out. I don't know if he was.
Okay, so that was just your plan. That wasn't something that you guys discussed and agreed on.
No, not at all.
Okay, so you didn't discuss that when you had the phone call with him earlier then?
We just planned to just meet up with each other. That was the plan.
At 9 p.m.?
Yes. It could have been earlier, but he had to drop off his kids.
Earlier? You were late. Okay, that made 0 sense. I can just okay, so Nicole's frustration is palpable. This woman, she's so infuriating. But I agree with you, Jen. I don't think she's stupid. I think she's actually, this is all planned. Now, Jen, I think she was possibly a decoy date and the other people showed up with her to rough Rosario up. Look, maybe, I don't know, but if she was a decoy date, wouldn't she be someone not from the district attorney's office? I don't know. That part just doesn't add up for me. I don't know. I don't know. You keep pushing, and in a Perry Mason moment, I'm going to shout out, this didn't really happen. Yeah, I know. It makes 0 sense. None of this makes sense. And also, I mean, if we look at the actual timeline of the text, she would have hung out there for like 40 minutes or so, just sitting there and observing people going by and things. And okay, let's assume for a second that she was actually at the right apartment. And hang on, I'm just going to move forward to the next slide. Okay, so we'll come back to that point in a minute. What does all this mean? So the changing of Ms. Messiah's statement is highly suspicious and possibly a sign of witness tampering on the part of the DA and perjury on the part of Narita. That's straight from the Free Zachariah Anderson website. So there's a section on the website called Unseen Evidence, and there are parts of the evidence that are debunked, and this particular testimony is one of those parts of the evidence that's debunked, and that's why I'm not just making this up. This is a sign of potential witness tampering because the DA did. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to let the cat out because it's really annoying. They're very loud. They're very loud. Apologies. Loud cat. Okay. So for the DA to organise a private meeting with a witness long after the event, and then for her testimony to change, that is a potential sign of witness tampering. And then for her to be speaking and saying something completely different on the witness stand, that's a potential sign of perjury, right? So I'm not saying she did commit perjury. I'm not saying he did tamper with a witness, but it's potentially so, right? So there's questions to be asked. All right, now, oops. So also, what does all this mean? So if the reader was in front of the correct building and did not see anyone or anything out of the ordinary, and for approximately 40 minutes, right? What does that mean? So like we were talking about earlier, guys. Now, there was a theory from chat, I think it was Myra, that that she saw something. Right? She saw something. Yeah, that's possible. Or she didn't see something. Right? So if she saw something, did she see someone else? Right? And she testified at some point to seeing a heavy-set woman walking back and forth, and there was a Hispanic male that she referred to. I think she referred to the Hispanic male in her first statement, but no sign of, like, you know, a body being dragged out or anything like that. She said a white van at one point, but then she changed that. So here's the thing. Did she see anything that looked like Zach and Zach's vehicle? No, I didn't hear her say anything of that sort. But then again, she was at the wrong apartment, wasn't she? That's what she keeps saying, that she was at the wrong apartment. But if she took Apple Maps there on that night, she might have been at the right apartment. And that's what Nicole Muller, Zach's defense attorney, managed to just get, is that it's possible she was at the right apartment. Now, she also stated that it was raining that night. She wasn't really looking at the numbers. She couldn't really see. Well, that's what it actually looked like. See, that's the building, right? And the building was pretty well lit up. Yeah. So if she was sticking around there, hanging about, and even if it was raining, she said it was drizzling, right? She didn't say it was like pelting down rain or anything like that. So if she's sitting around there waiting apparently for him to come out, she's flashing the lights, like she said, you'd think she would pay some attention to these lit up lights, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, come on now. Like, you wouldn't just sit there and not pay any attention to the lights. You would at some point. Like, you'd try and work out what building number you're at.
Yeah.
It makes no sense at all for you to just be sitting there so excited to meet this person, but not look at the building numbers. That makes no sense. What's this? So yeah, it's very coincidental for her to be there at that time, chose to go there versus accepting his offer to meet elsewhere. That has no explanation for why she was supposedly late, then started creating her alibi immediately. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's keep going. So what does all this mean? So before leaving at 10:18 p.m., so if she was there for 40 minutes and before leaving at 10:18 p.m., that brings the Super Zach theory into play.
Super Zach.
Super Zach. Super Zach, right? And this is all very, 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 very useful for the DA, for the prosecution, right? So if she changed her testimony to make out like she was always at the wrong apartment, that helps with the Super Zach theory, right? So let's see. So sorry, let me just go back a second. No, if she had have been in front of the right building, which the DA doesn't want, then the Super Zach theory would have had to have been in play, right? Because that takes a big chunk out of the amount of time that Zach would have needed to have performed the unaliving, right? So they didn't want her to have been at the right apartment, right? It was really important to them that she wasn't at the right apartment. Hence the whole Google Maps thing. Hence the whole her testifying she definitely wasn't at the right apartment, right? Definitely wasn't there. Never, not right apartment. They all looked the same. I didn't look at the numbers. I couldn't see the numbers. All that. Really, really, really never saw it. Hello, Sarah Schwartzberg. Lots of shady people involved in the case, but Noreen is my #1 suspect. Really? Nothing she said or did makes sense, and the screenshots can't really be innocently explained. Yes, okay. So let's look at this. So what does all this mean? In 61 minutes, Super Zach would levitate Rosalio's body into his holovan and fly home to Mequon by 11:19 p.m. So there would have been only 61 minutes for him to do that. 1 hour and 1 minute. Right?
And
So
of course,
here you
he's
go.
speeding and running red lights and breaking all these traffic laws with a body in his van.
Yeah, okay. So he would have needed to do that, avoiding the glare of the paparazzi along the way.
Yeah.
What I mean is that the only way to get to from there to there in 61 minutes is via these routes, right? And they've got lots of cameras. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah.
He was not seen on one camera.
Yeah.
And because of that, the only way the timetable could possibly kind of fit is if he was seen by camera, and he wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean by the paparazzi. Yeah. All right. So he would have had to have flown, right? Levitate, be Super Zach in order to do it in 1 hour and 1 minute, right? So if she had been at the right apartment, not seen him, been there all that time, not seeing him, and then for him to have turned up just after she left and, you know, gotten all that stuff done and then left and gotten home and avoided all those cameras, he would have had to flown, right? It's just not possible, right? He would have had to be Super Zach. Yeah, already he has to be Super Zach, but he
I
even
mean,
more
already,
so.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
even more so. He would have had to be Super Zach. Yeah, that's why he's Super Zach. Yeah. So it's just not possible.
I do believe that the state looked into that and tried to make a narrative fit for Saul, which is why Solomon. I don't know how much Jen wants to say, but there was a lot of they couldn't talk to each other for a while.
Well, we need to finish up really quickly because we need to.
Of course.
We need to go over to the other stream. Okay, so Noreen Messias was cross-examined at length. Her testimony contained many inconsistencies, but there are many other curious characters in this story. So, like this guy, someone Rosalio owed money to and happened to dispose of a soiled rug around that time as well. Remember the rug from last week? Remember how there was a big gap in the carpet where the blood spatter was? So we're going to have a bit of a look at him next week as well. His name's Michael Campbell, and he was Rosalio's friend. Also, his cell phone registered his location at home the whole time. Yes, Solomon, indeed. And Solomon, are you ready for your stream? Because we're about to redirect. Now, Solomon, I couldn't redirect to you because you don't have your redirect privileges set up. Yeah, nor do you. But don't worry, I'm going to redirect to David, and I'm sure people will pop over into your chat. Solomon is Zach's brother. Yep. And Jen, Solomon's lovely wife. So thank you both for being here, and we're about to just pop everyone over to you guys. Before we go, is Zach the murderer? I don't think so. Join us next week for part 5. Zach Anderson, not a murderer, an urgent fight for justice. Please note the Give Send Go is at the top of chat. Please give generously. If you saw my TikTok, my reel, whatever it was, showing just how much money it's costing for Zach's appeal. It's not over, guys. These guys really, really need every dollar. Please. It's the only thing that I can put my time or money into. And it's obviously
real causes, real people.
Yeah.
Who need it.
Okay. They really need it. They really, really need it. Okay, so there's that. Secondly, please go and have a look at the Wrongful podcast. It's amazing by Josie and Ashley. And the other thing is Bill Hammer Media has subscribed to his playlist for the entire trial, interrogations, etc. He's awesome. guys, please go over and get into the comment section of the Innocent Lives Matter Crime Circus playlist. There are 2 interrogations up there. There's Sadie's and there's Zach's. There are some people in there who are saying some stuff that's just not true. I've been getting in there and getting in the comments. You need help. All right.
Yeah.
So please go over there and have a look. One last thing. Oh yeah, that every dollar helps. Please give generously. Zach's Defense Fund still needs your support. The link is in the description and in the chat. That's all I have to say, and I'm closing up shop really quick so I can like do the whole everybody raid over onto David. Okay, thank you guys so much. Make sure you subscribe to the playlist. And
Yep.
I'm going to say bye-bye. Bye-bye from
Toodles.
Darlie. Bye-bye from me. I'll see you on Sunday for Hearsay for Days. And Jensen. Oh, no, Jensen?
No, Jensen.
No, Jensen tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't have anything scheduled, so yeah.
Okay, all right. See you on Sunday for Hearsay for Days. It's 4 p.m. Eastern this week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.